My name's Cole Roper with Manual College, and I'll be giving the critique on the Class 1 July gilts. As a committee, we came up to the class and we sort of thought it sorted off into two pairs. You had two sounder designed, better, nicer balanced hogs to start the class, and that was 1 and 4. And then you had two harder doing, flatter ribbed, narrow constricted hogs in 3 and 2. And we sort of felt that it sorted itself into two pairs when you come up and look at those. And then of the two pairs at the top here, 1 and 4, we felt one just had a little more bone, a shot more power, so we went ahead and ran her. Followed her with 4, one that's got plenty of a nice design and a really cool look about her. We thought she got a little wasty in her jowl, a little quick in her maturity, little shorter made type gilt, so we left her second. And then following up with her, we felt like in the bottom pair of 3 and 2, we felt like 3 had a little more power and capacity to bring to the table. You get behind 2, she's really the narrow gauge, flatter made gilt to the drive, and so we bottomed her, and we ended up cutting it 2, 3, and 2. And that's the July gilts. Go 1, 4, 3, 2, cuts of 2, 3, and 2.
Hey guys, my name is Landon Tadage, and I'll be talking the Class 2 Prospect Market Hogs. As a committee, we thought this class offers quality and sort, but from there, we think that the easiest decision is to go ahead and put 4 and 4. We think that one maybe offers some length and extension, and maybe has some advantages structurally over some of the other ones in the class, but we decided that's easy to do when you're the narrowest made and lightest muscled one, so we went ahead and put her 4th. We thought the next easiest decision was to go ahead and put 3 in 3rd. That's one that you want to call heavy muscled and grant her for being the high cutability hog in class. But when you really get to study that one, she narrows up at the ground pretty good and has some structural disadvantages when compared to the two above her. That leaves us with 1 and 2 in the top pair, and we went ahead and put 1 in 1st. From the side, that one offers a good look, and she's the soundest one in class that, as the contest wears on, continues to plant and push off either end of her skeleton. And on top of that, she's the heaviest muscled, stoutest boned gilt in class as well. That leaves us 2 in 2nd. It's another good muscled kind of hog that maybe just lacks a little bit of look when compared to the 1 gilt. She's a little shorter hip and forward in her blade, making her a little more restricted off either end of her skeleton. So we place the class 1, 2, 3, 4 with cuts of 3, 4, and 5. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Breck Dubnam, and I'll be giving you the critiques for the Hereford classes. The first class of Herefords would be Class 3, the heifer calves. I think that class breaks into 2 pairs relatively handily. Within the top pair, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had, but we went ahead and said that the number 1 heifer had more than enough mass and feature, and we just thought that in relation to her added upper body shape and mass, she just had the feature when you study her at the ground to go ahead and call her a shot more proportional. We thought she sat down on her hind leg with just a little bit more reach and comfort and flexibility. The heifer that's going to be in 2nd, the number 3 heifer, she was overwhelming in terms of her mass and dimension and upper body shape. One that just maybe got a little bit more restricted in the motion to her hock joint, maybe just a little bit straighter in her shoulder, crestier and more masculine at the top side of her neck. There in the middle pair, I think that one, just a whole lot more cow there, a lot more body shape, a lot more muscle mass and dimension. The number 2 heifer, one that's got some feature, one that's got some added performance and length of body. I just think that's a straighter shouldered cattle. It's a little bit flatter in body shape. The heifer that's going to round out the class with a 4-point cut would be 4, the horned heifer. That one's really good in terms of her feet, her joints, her angles. She has a good look from the side, one that just gets outperformed in relation to the 3 right ahead of her. So we went ahead and ran that class 1, 3, 2, and 4 with cuts of 2, 4, and 5. All right guys, so we'll go ahead and talk about Class 4, the Hereford bred heifers, and that class was a senior class only. Everybody had the opportunity to go ahead and judge it. It'll just only count for the scores for the senior contestants. With that being said, we thought the 3 heifer needed to go ahead and win this class rather handily with a 3-point cut. That one, I think, has a lot of good about her in terms of functionality and looseness of structure. That one's right in terms of her body shape, and certainly collects herself with some balance and look from the side. From there, I think the most discussion of the class comes in the middle pair, and if you switch that around, we only gave you a 2-point cut. We just thought the 1 heifer was a shot more angular in terms of her shoulder blade and her knee. From there back, she's a long-performing, long-bodied, high-performing cattle with some added scale and performance. If you wanted to go ahead and switch that pair and use the 2 heifer over her, just in terms of her added mass and spring of rib and muscle when she turned and went away from you, we wouldn't argue with you at all. From there, in the bottom pair, that one just has a whole lot more performance, a whole lot more curvature to her upper rib and added bone and foot size. You know, the 4 heifer, there's nothing wrong with that one from a basic build standpoint, and she collects herself with some look and presence. It's just in this class, she definitely gets outperformed and outmassed and just needs some more rib and body. So with that being said, we went ahead and placed them 3-1, 2-4 with cuts of 3, 2, and 5.
Hey guys, Callie Akins here. I'm going to talk Class 5 Performance Angus Heifers. We walked up to that class and we thought it was a pretty easy class to sort as a committee. When you walk up to it, I think the easiest thing to do is to find 2. That heifer needs to go fourth. One that's just in terms of quality, kind of the off-quality heifer that doesn't have quite the rib in the body or the balance. One that to me, when you look at her on paper, is just kind of the low-performing heifer that needs to be fourth. If you didn't find her there, we cut her 7. From there, I think there's a trio of heifers that have some sort to them. You look at the paper and it kind of tells you the 1 heifer is the one to win. Just has a lot of performance, a lot of growth, one that's the best just in terms of her carcass values as well. You study her in the pen, and one that I think has a lot of stoutness and a lot of performance, rib and body. Maybe not just the elite one in terms of look from the side, but one that's just in terms of a functional cow with some performance, some value to that scenario, one that you really like. I guess one that when you turn around and you really like is 4, just one that's super good in terms of her balance, really sound structured, moderate, functional kind of female. Maybe just not the overall stoutness and power as 1, maybe not the extra performance, but one that if you want to argue just that one's the best one just in terms of her look and her build and her quality, I can certainly get on board with that. From there, I think 3 is one that you like in terms of her rib and her body, one that has some fleshing ability. For us, we thought that one was just a little narrower from behind, one that's a little frailer in terms of her feature. Maybe could be more relaxed as she gets out and goes. So one that I think kind of sorts into a top pair for me. 3 needs to go 3rd. We just started with the performance and added stoutness and ran 1 first. So the official is 1, 4, 3, 2, cut 2, 4, and 7. Good luck.
Hi, back again. I'm also going to talk the breeding does, and I'm going to keep this relatively short. I think in this class, as you look at the class, I think it broke itself into truly 2 pair in terms of breeding does. You have 1 and 4. 1 is the highest quality, the best balanced doe. She still retains some femininity up through her front end. She's round in her rib and has enough muscle to her, and we found that she is the doe that's going to surface to the top. 4 is the black-headed doe. 4 is the fastest growing, the highest performing, a real deep bodied kind of a doe. But this doe kind of lacks some femininity up through her head and neck. This one gets a bit coarse through her shoulder. But in terms of weight per day of age, in terms of performance in a breeding doe, this doe certainly goes over the bottom pair, which is 2 over 3. I think that 2 doe is a really nice doe. This doe balances, this doe is feminine and has some quality, but in compared to the top, she just doesn't have enough volume to make it a competitive decision. 2 kind of goes over 3 in a simple decision for me. There's just more balance and structural correctness and strength over her top. So the placing is 1, 4, 2, 3 with cuts of 4, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Hey guys, forgot to mention my name in the last video, but I'm Daniel Dobbs and I'm going to be talking Class 7 weather dams to you. This class would have been, everyone had the opportunity to judge it, but the scores won't count for the seniors. Just wanted to mention that. But with that, as we dive in on the class here, we placed that class 3, 2, 4, 1 with cuts of 4, 3, and 4, just to break the sheep down to you. You know, to me that 3 use does a lot of things good. That's probably my favorite sheep that we saw all day. today. That was really opened up, really rounded her body shape, stout pinned, really good in terms of her build and set to her rear leg. From the side, that one's good in her neck attachment, elegance up front. I really like that one in terms of her lower body. A lot of breeding value there. On the other end of things, the 1U, we just sifted that one down. You know, that's a pretty big framed ewe that's got some depth of rib, but you know, as you move forward, guys, you know, depth of body on sheep isn't always just a great thing. To me, that one's just kind of mature body, just a little bit, has plenty of condition on her. She's really flat, steady her going away. She tapers back to her pin set, and still that's a deep chested one that you just don't love to look at from the outside. And then from there, it becomes more of a middle pair between 2 and 4. Just to talk the differences, the 2U, a little bit bigger, longer, prettier in her look. I like that one on the top side of her skeleton and the way she attaches her neck. I want to make her just a shot better there in the way she's laid into her chest in relation to where her flank sits. But still, that's a good built sheep that offers some quality from the side and still an adequate amount of dimension from behind. Then you have the 4U, and to me, that's where she has her countered in terms of power. That one's really big backed and stout when you get from behind her. From the side, you know, that one's thin necked, but sure would like to make her just a shot taller fronted and just run uphill just a shot more and give her a better look. But that's how we break down the class. But at the end of the day, we go 3, 2, 4, 1 with cuts of 4, 3, and 4. Thank you and good luck. Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and be discussing Class 8 weather dams with you. Those have been reasons for the senior 4-H, I'm sure on the FFA side as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and come out the gate and give you the placing and the cuts. We placed that class 4, 3, 2, 1 with cuts of 4, 2, and 6. Just to kind of break down the 4U in my mind, to me that one's just a real good combination kind of sheep. That one bridges the gap between offering some power, some skeletal quality, and some look. Really break that ewe down. I like her in terms of her width of skeleton. She's really round and bold in terms of the shape to her rib. Study her when she leaves you, really stout and correct in the build to her hind leg. From the side, I like that one's look. Maybe it should be just a shot better in terms of her neck attachment, but in terms of her chest sits in relation to her flank, I still think that's some sheep that offers some quality. From there we go with the 3U, and we had some shuffle on that U as far as how we broke that one down, but to me that one's as genuine as any in terms of the shape she offers right there out of the back of her blade. That one's really square in terms of her back shape, comes back to a big and square pin set. From the side, she's thin about her neck, probably sets it on higher to the top of her shoulder when you compare her back to the 4U, but study her on the go, and you guys mentioned that and I appreciate it. A little bit tight in her spine, needs to drop down in her flank just a shade, but still a good ewe that offers some breeding value. The 2U just hits me as practical. Really big outline, long bodied, flexible in her build. To me, that one's just a shot more ordinary in terms of the way she's laid in at the base of her shoulder and chest. Still, that thing could be enhanced and just a shot more radical when you get from behind her. And then the 1U, you know, this one floated a bit throughout the class, and you know, guys, I just wasn't too high on that one. That one's, she was called opened up, powerful, round, and stout, but to me that one's more on the fat side rather than stout. She's kind of short coupled, early maturing. Really don't like the set to that one's rear leg, and on top of that she's frilled. So with that, we placed the class 4, 3, 2, 1 with cuts of 4, 2, and 6.
Hello, my name's Kent Benson, and I'm the North Region Animal Science Area teacher. I'm going to talk the keep and cull ewes. This class was the group activity for the juniors today and an individual class 9 for the seniors. First thing, when you walk up to the keep and cull classes, you need to study the scenario. Kind of tells you what that producer is trying to do in terms of their program and what to look for when selecting the 4 that you plan to keep. In this situation, the producer has gone through his flock, he's done some upgrading, and he's culled some ewes, and he was particularly focused on culling ewes that were not genetically clean. Along with that, it mentioned that these ewes, he wanted ewes that were free of the dwarf gene, and those had already been eliminated from the offering, so we didn't have to make any kind of decision making based on the dwarf gene today. And so this is a producer that produces high quality club lambs that sells them to 4-H members and FFA members in the state of Georgia. And so we're looking for quality sheep that can produce lambs that will bring high dollar value in terms of showability. And as we look through the number of ewes, the first thing I think we do is realize this producer does not want anything that is carrying the scrapie or spider gene, and so that you have to go through and you eliminate ewes right off the bat. 3, which is QQNS. You need to eliminate ewe 7, which is QR and NN. And then you also have to eliminate U6, which is QR and S. So then you have 5 ewes that you need to consider. In that group, there was one ewe that really didn't have the qualities in terms of a brood ewe that would produce high quality club lambs, and that was the, if we look here, the 8 ewe. That ewe is RRNN. Its genetic panel is clean, but in terms of balance, that ewe's kind of long shouldered, flat in his forerib, high in his flank, and just doesn't have enough muscle. As you study the other 4 ewes are the ones you're going to keep, and we're just going to give you the numbers on those. Number 1 is a keeper, and that ewe gets 13 points. Number 2 is a keeper. That ewe gets 8 points. Number 4 is a keeper. That ewe takes 14 points. And number 5 receives 15 points. If you kept 6, you get 2 points. If you kept 8, you receive 3 points. And if you kept 3 or 7, you're going to receive 0 points on that class. Thank you very much, and good luck to all the contestants.